I like to travel, and one of the countries that I love to travel to is China. Don't get me wrong, there's no reason why an Indian like me cannot go to China. I like the culture, I like the heritage, I like the architecture, and I like lifestyle in China. So, whenever I have an opportunity to go for holiday, I will go to China. Now, whenever I travel there to China, I lose Air Asia. Why? Come on, I'm Malaysian, and every Malaysian will choose the cheaper option, and Air Asia is the cheapest option there is. So every time I travel to China, there will be a few incidents at the airport or on the plane that is memorable. Uh, this has happened to me many times. I believe this story happened during my second or third time to China. So I was in KLIA, and after I gone through the customs and everything like that, I went towards the gate to enter the plane, and I had to first enter the waiting room. And as soon as I stepped onto the room, everybody looked at me. Everyone was Chinese, and they were looking at me. And I bet you in your mind they were thinking, what the hell is this black fellow doing here? I just acted normally, found a place to sit, and sat there quietly, not disturbing anyone. And Asia made an announcement to start boarding the plane. And I didn't want to be the first person to board the plane, or first 100 people to board the plane. That is, you know, the jam queuing up. So I was the last person to board the plane. And before I boarded the plane, the guy normally asks for your identification card and your ticket. So I gave my identification card and my ticket to the man at the gate, and he looked at the ticket, then looked at me, and then he said, "Excuse me, sir," with a serious face. He said, "Excuse me, sir, the plane to India is that way." He just glanced at my IC. He didn't look at my ticket. And I said, he repeated, "Excuse me, sir, the plane to India is that way." I looked at him. For real? I went Minion war to Guangzhou for holidays. Oh, every year I go to China for holidays, and as soon as I spoke Mandarin, he just stopped. His mouth fell up, down. I said, bro, can I enter the plane? Sure. Yes. When I was in a plane, looking for my seat that was at the back, I think was 35A. So as I was walking down the aisle, there was this Chinese boy, around 5 or 6, and he looked at me, and immediately he went, "Ma, pa, ta she, ika haiwan." If some of you don't know, haiwan means black person. Now, I wanted to have some fun, so I went, "Haiwan, Haiwan Zainali. Oh, Haiwan, black guy. Where's the black guy? Was she Indian? I'm an Indian." And immediately the child's face became red. I looked at the parents, they smiled at me, and I smiled at them. Walking down the aisle, I could see people looking at me. Oh my God, there's an Indian in the plane. Wow, I've never seen an Indian before. Wow, so that is how they look. Come on. So I was nearing my seat 35A, and as I was about to put my bags up on the compartment, a Chinese auntie about 50 or 60 just looked at me and went, and I swear I could hear her going gasping. And I looked at her and I said, Ni hao, Hong Kao and she panicked and immediately sat down in a seat. People were looking at me. I said, Ni hao, Hong Kao and they were surprised. And I looked up to the sky. Oh God, is this happening? And then I said, Wo hoi yi tian tan shu han yu. And when I said that, I can speak a bit of Mandarin. Everybody started to clap. Huh? Indian talking in Mandarin. Wow. I was flabbergasted. I didn't expect this. So never mind. I stored my bags on the compartment. I sat down. The plane was lift off, and it was 30 minutes later. I could feel someone tapping my shoulder, and I went and I woke up. I said, huh? Immediately, I saw about 5 to 7 Chinese aunties and little children looking at me. And I went there, Shenma, Ni Yao Shenma, what do you want? And I said it politely and nicely. And I started to converse in my limited Mandarin. Back then my Mandarin was better than how it is right now. So I communicated with them in basic Mandarin and they were all surprised. Fine. This is just a plane journey. When we landed in China, I think it was one of the airports. I can't remember which airport. As I came down from the plane, started walking to the immigration, and people looking at me with amaze. In the Chinese airport, you cannot take out your cell phone and take a picture. It's not forbidden. It's not advisable to do that. So, yeah, I was walking towards the immigration, and I was waving my hand, ni hao, and I swear to you, many people were shocked. I could see many people just stood still with a gaping mouth looking at me. When I went to the immigration counter, obviously the immigration officer didn't look at me. He was checking his desk, and then I gave him my passport. And my flight ticket and that small visa ticket. As soon as he looked at my passport, he flipped open and he went, "Hi, Indian." I said, Sure. What's your Indian? Yes, I'm an Indian. And he said that, "What are you doing here in China?" I came here for holiday. And yeah, he was so excited to see an Indian who managed to speak in communicatable who managed to speak a bit in Mandarin, and he was so happy. He didn't ask me any more questions. He just looked at my passport and then he chopped it and then he returned it to me and said, "Have a nice trip in China." And I said, "Sure, sure." Yeah, that was my second or third trip in China. I've been there. I've been to China many, many times, but this is one of those stories that I remember the most. From boarding the plane, being in the plane, being in the Chinese airport, to meeting the immigration officers, everybody was curious to see an Indian like me in China.